Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DiFiorio with Keys to the Shop, and welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at La Marzocco, who have been making espresso machines by hand in Florence since 1927, and their equipment is second to none. They are known for innovation, beauty, dependability, a rock in the otherwise stormy sea of coffee shop operation. And so if you are a coffee shop owner, or if you're someone in charge of buying equipment for your cafe, and you want some reliability in your coffee equipment, if you want time-tested, battle-tested equipment that just stands up to the pressures and the demand of coffee shop operation, La Marzocco is it. So go to lamarzocousa.com. Check out all the different types of espresso machines they have, as well as their great Swan grinder. And also, you know, it might be even better than going to the website is reaching out directly to a salesperson. Go to info@lamarzocousa.com and reach out. And somebody in your region will help you walk through the process of getting a great machine for your shop. Now, we're also sponsored today by rattleware.com. Rattleware is a provider and maker of functional smallwares for the cafe. You name it, they've got it at rattleware.com. And their equipment is made, their smallwares are made specifically to help your coffee shop not have to worry about smallwares. So you're going to get something that is just a part of your routine. It doesn't have to be something you're worried about not working, which is terrible when smallwares do that. So that's why Rattleware exists. They want you to have confidence and focus on the main thing, your customers, your workflow, the dialing in, and everything else. So if you're looking for great functional smallwares for your cafe, go to rattleware.com. Okay, everyone. Well, today I wanted to talk to you about maybe you're doing enough for your staff. Now, I know that we are in the mindset, and I think it's a good mindset to be thinking of what can we do to add value. We want to always add value. I think there's two ways to look at that. You can maintain and make sure that you're stewarding and making consistent the value you offer both to your customers and to your staff. And you can add to it when opportunity to add to it comes and is also something you're able to do. Where I feel like we get caught up is when we are putting undue stress on ourselves to sort of always kind of pass the note to our staff that says, do you like me? Check yes or no. Sort of an insecurity about what we're doing for them. So if I hear this question in terms of a couple of different ways, like, hey, there's a new shop coming into town and it's a big company that can afford to pay all of these benefits. What more can I do for my staff to retain them? You know, or what more can I do to my staff or for my staff to motivate them? Or maybe I haven't, this group of people that are unmotivated, or they are not doing the work that is like the work they're supposed to be doing. So I need to like add more to the value of what this role is so that they'll see, now I will work well, right? Where we know that's not actually going to happen if somebody's already made the conscious decision to just not do the work well, even though they know what that work is. That is a purposeful choice against doing the work. That you can't really incentivize that out of existence. That's a personality trait. That is a character flaw in that individual. And there's not very much you can do to solve that by throwing more money, more benefits, more perks. You can grovel, you can make apologies, you can take it on yourself and be like, I am the owner, I am the manager, and I know that I should be serving you. But there's a difference between serving the needs of your staff and being a servant to them. And it's just the same as customers. The customer is not always right, and neither is the barista. Because they think they need more doesn't mean they actually need more. Now, we are big on the idea that we are as generous as we can be. We're not paying what we can get away with, we're paying what we can. We are serving the needs of those around us. So don't hear me wrong when I say just because somebody says they need something doesn't mean they need it. What I'm talking about is there's a limit. There's always going to be a limit to what you can do. And what you're supposed to be doing is kind of maintaining a vigilant eye, keeping a weather eye out for the things that will add value, and also keeping an eye on your ability to do those things, and also keeping in mind that you are already probably doing good things for your staff. Now, if you're not, you got to be honest with yourself. Are you really doing what you can to care for your staff well? If you need to go back through a lot of our library of episodes talking in detail a lot about this disposition of leadership and management, this is just something we kind of hammer home again and again and again. The question is, are you feeling the conviction of those things and then doing something about it? Have you built into your business the reality, verifiable, that we are very good about paying people what we can, resourcing them with time, energy, tools, instruction, communication, support, flexibility, all that fun stuff, right? Now, if you're doing all that, you're doing a lot. And and you can prove this is what we can do, and we're doing it consistently. And from a heart of, I want you all to thrive. This is all we can do, really. And it doesn't do anybody any good for us to constantly be kind of throwing ourselves under the bus and saying, well, I could do more and what we're doing is not enough. Listen, you're not going to be able to retain every single staff member that you get. Sometimes you just can't pay people more, and they will go elsewhere to get paid more. But what you can do is make sure that you are delivering consistently those things that you can do to people, and you are kind of outlining for them why that's valuable as much as you can. At a certain point, though, you have to say, look, it's as much as I can do. And the value of being here ultimately then rests in the hands and the minds of those who have chosen to be there and be employees. Because this is not just a one-way street. The employees, in order to show proper respect, just person to person, professional to professional, if I want to, as a leader, show respect to my staff, I will assume that they have intrinsic motivation. I will assume that they have maturity to make choices and be, proactive and well thought through in their decisions. And that when they make choices, they're doing them for thought through reasons and intentional reasons. It's not respectful of me to just assume that I'm the one who has to be your end all be all in terms of motivation and everything else, and that you're not the kind of person who has strength and resilience as an individual. I owe it to you to start from the position that you are somebody who makes intentional, thoughtful decisions. You want to do a good job. I give you charitable assumption, benefit of the doubt. And starting from that place, you can kind of live that through, or you can prove me wrong. And if I'm doing as much as I can do, but you're not holding up your end of the bargain here, and it is a bargain, it is a agreement. When you work for this company, you work for them. You don't work for yourself. Now, you get benefits yourself. There are tangential benefits, there are direct benefits that you get and retain throughout your entire career if you play your cards right. But you do work for a company, and part of your life is going to be submitted to the standards and methodologies and priorities of the company represented by your bosses or the owner and that kind of thing. So you need to really keep this in mind, because if you don't, what's going to happen is what you're going to do is you're going to create these sort of enshrined examples of exceptions and compromises. And we're going to build the business around other people's decision to not work the way they're supposed to, or we're going to chase the kind of retention that we just can't compete with if we don't have the money to compete with it. There is nothing you can do if you're a very small operator to compete with some of the money being thrown at baristas at starting wages in other from larger corporations that have a budget for that. Again, what you can always do is showcase for people the value of being there, and make sure that you're not overly paranoid and obsessed about this stuff to the degree that it kind of takes you out of the game. And the game is being present in the relationships that you have to steward them well. So in your business, what I want you to do is get comfortable with the idea that yes, you're going to look for ways to add value, but you're also going to be somebody who maintains and stewards the value that is there. Don't discount that. The stuff that you're doing right now is valuable, and you're going to look out for ways to add value, of course, but not without realizing that, at a certain point, you can only do so much. And after that point, it's about maintaining relationship. And you can say goodbye to people sometimes for a couple of reasons. One, because they have to move on and it's a tearful goodbye. And, it's just, I have to go back home and I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go away to school, that kind of stuff. But I wish I could stay here. That's a great one. Sometimes you have to say goodbye to people because they just don't fit the role. They're not doing the work, and we have to be confident enough in ourselves and our business to know we've given you every chance possible, and out of respect for everybody, we're going to take this decision that you've made to not do the work well and move you on to something else where you can thrive. It's just responsible of us to do. And the other way that we can say goodbye to people sometimes is that they need to move on for the purpose of having enough money. And we just can't because of the business limitations. There's only so much we can do. And it would be wrong of us to try to force ourselves to be something that we're not, because sometimes, you might make bad business decisions and try to, mimic what a big company with that large budget will do. But unless you know that you can afford to do it, it would be foolish to do it just to try to compete. You've got to mind your P's and Q's. You've got to do the math and know your limitations, know your heart in this, and that it is a growing capacity that you have to care for people that will change the landscape of who works for you and how long. And that's just the nature of this game, even in the businesses that you're competing against, I guess, the large ones that you feel like you need to, hey, what can we do to compete with the benefits of these other places? A lot of times, the phrase or the saying is that people would rather work in a place where they feel fulfilled, they feel recognized, they feel poured into, and they're in a healthy relationship with work, with their coworkers, with their management. It's a great place to be, and they know that everybody there is for them. And even to the degree that they know the management and the leadership is absolutely trying to give them as many benefits or value, as much value as possible. And the limitations, they're there. They understand. And in spite of the limitations, those folks will stay around because they know, maybe because they've been in other jobs, that even though they have these technical benefits, the other stuff is just not there. The stuff that is built into your culture, the relational things. So in this shift break, I guess the whole point is maybe you are doing enough. Keep an eye out for what we can do to add value, but really turn your attention to caring very well for the people that you have now. Don't put your sights so much on your competitors, and cultivate the garden that you have at the moment. And you're going to find a lot more fruitfulness by doing that, and a lot more peace of mind as well. All right, so that's it. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you here next time on another edition of Shift Break, from keys to the shop.